everybody. So I'm so excited to finally be able to bring you my review of Coco, the new Pixar animated film. And this is one that I was definitely a little bit nervous for. And I still think that their marketing campaign was pretty bad in selling the movie and especially releasing the music and other things. But now I've seen the movie, so now what do I think? The movie is a very special film. I think it's definitely something I really challenge you to go see with your whole family. On the surface, it looks kind of scary with these skeletons, but actually, it's actually really sweet and quite funny at times, and it's really not too scary. It's not like Corpse Bride or Coraline or something like that might be too hard for little kids. And basically, this movie, Dia de Muertos, and sorry if I pronounce things wrong, and it's a lot of people compared it to the Book of Life, but it's very, very different from the Book of Life, aside from having a common holiday. First of all, the Book of Life is about grown-ups, whereas this is about a little boy, and it isn't a love story. There's really no real romance in it. Like the Book of Life is a love story, love triangle, actually. And this is a much better movie. I'm sorry. I have a review of Book of Life I'll put in there, but this is a much better movie for a lot of reasons. And maybe I'll do a separate video talking about that. But Miguel is 12 years old. He leads this story. And I really liked his voice actor, Anthony Gonzalez, as Miguel. I know he was great. He was very warm. He was very sincere. You really believed that he really loved music and he really wanted to be a part of it. He lives in this town where his family has basically sworn off of music, and he wants to become a musician like his idol, Ernesto de la Cruz. Well, one day, but his family absolutely forbids it because they hate music and they hate the path they took. His great grandfather took him away from the family, and so that's why they hate it and they think it's a bad thing. And so they have this on the Day of the Dead. You put out pictures for the people that you want to remember, and you want them to come over. There's this bridge with these marigold petals, and you want to put out a picture so that the people will come, and that's a sign that you remember them. Well, in the photo of his great-grandfather, his head is torn off, but he has a guitar, and the guitar is very similar to the same guitar that Ernesto de la Cruz has in his cemetery. Well, so Miguel, kind of on the Day of the Dead, wanders in and actually takes the guitar because he wants to play music. And he ends up, because he has stolen something of the dead, he ends up going to the land of the dead. And he has to get a blessing from one of his relatives that will then take him back before the sun rises in the next day. So that's your basic plot. But I actually found it somewhat unpredictable. There was one thing that surprised me a little bit. I guess now retrospect, maybe it is something they've done quite a bit, but I don't know, for some reason when I was watching it, it surprised me a little bit. But I think what's great about this movie is literally, I think I could watch it probably 100 times and notice new details. It's sort of like Finding Nemo in that way, where just every inch of the screen is animated and different. And, I was learning so much about this, learning so much about the culture. And yeah, I get it. You can't take all of your lessons from a animated film, but it felt there was just so many layers to this holiday, to this world. And to be honest, before I watched this movie and before I started researching for Coco, I thought that Dia de los Muertos was like Halloween for Mexicans. I really did. And that's so foolish of me, and that's my own weakness. But even watching Book of Life, I didn't learn as much as I learned watching this. And with Book of Life, one of the things that really annoyed me is that they had actors like Channing Tatum that didn't sound Latino at all. This, you have a very authentic voice cast with Benjamin Bratt and with Gail Garcia Bernal. You have Anthony Gonzalez. You have Benjamin Bratt, Renee Victor. This huge huge Latino Hispanic cast, which was great. Had songs that felt authentic as opposed to the Book of Life that used modern songs. And anyway, I don't want to speak about the Book of Life, but it just felt so much more immersive, and it was so beautiful. And a lot of people said they cried a lot in this movie. I was getting about like 2/3 in, and I'm thinking I haven't cried yet, and then boom, woo! And I think like anybody who's like lost anybody will tear up, because it's all about like being remembered and not being forgotten, and how like that's a fear I think of all of us, is that we will be forgotten, and that it's just so beautiful. And it made me think of my grandpa, who I miss every day of my life and who I love so much. And so it was just, I cried. I definitely did. And I just feel like a lot of times these emotional films are not all that rewatchable, but this, I can imagine just rewatching it a million times and just learning more, feeling more immersed. The songs, like I said, they felt authentic to the movie, but also they were really good songs. The Michael Giacchino score felt very authentic, but the Lopez's songs, so good. Kristen Lopez, I think it was just her, so good. Super impressed by Coco. I thought it was beautiful, and I think it is without really much of a doubt, it is the best animated film of the year. I have been pretty tough on the mainstream animated films, but my second best would be A Silent Voice, and this is definitely better than A Silent Voice. The pacing is better, and it has equal heart. And but I love both movies, don't get me wrong, but this is just a special thing. This is not the kind of movie that comes out every year. Like, this is a special movie. We haven't had as great a movie from any animation studio since Inside Out. And, it's just so special that it's actually pretty funny in spots. So, I can't recommend it more highly. I definitely would give it my highest grade. Smile worthy. Go see it. Let me know what you think of Coco. Put it down in the comment section. And thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.